Life is so good as a Northwestern theater major. You're studying Hedda Gabler, performing Shakespeare at the Rock in the springtime, arguing about Chekhov and life and the meaning of jejune over a terrible cup of Seattle's best coffee. But then they put a Starbucks in the Norris Student Center, and it was like God said, "For you." Life is this big, graceful, glittering thing of promise and art and beauty and spiritual meaning, and I'm so lucky and so happy to be a part of it. And I know that graduation promises a launch into a brave new world of adventure and excitement and storefront theater, which is the deepest and most meaningful artistic expression on the planet. So then I graduate, and I get the bill, and I go, oh. But it's okay, because there's this really rich businessman who runs a touring children's theater company, and he gives me a job weeks after I graduate to tour the highways and byways of Middle America for 3 months, performing a version of Cinderella that he doesn't have the rights to, but we're asked to sort of keep quiet about it. And sure, he has halitosis. And bloody toes. And a coke problem. Or at least he says it's a brain tumor. And when we show up at his Gold Coast townhouse to sign our contracts, he's late bringing them down because he vomited on the original copies. But it's okay, because to his credit, he also sexually harasses us. And he's giving me a chance to do what I love, to perform and share stories with children all over the country. And maybe it's not Broadway, or off Broadway, or off Broadway, but it's Broad Street in Hoboken, and I'm a star! So I'm eating at yet another Schlotsky's Deli in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, meth capital of the world. So what? I'm still getting paid, even though it can be 13-hour days with the traveling and less than minimum wage considering everything, because non-union actors are cheaper than Bangkok prostitutes. But what am I saying? This isn't about selling yourself. It's about art, I think, as the mouth-breathing principal of a school in Houston asks me if I'm into porn yet. The point is, I'm doing the thing that I love most, and it's worth a drunk man trying to break into my Econo Lodge room at 3 in the morning. And it's about the kids who never shut up and who sneeze in my face on purpose. But it is worth everything when I trudge into that Dallas motel room and see the hair on the floor and the bugs in the shower and the unmade bed, and the broken front door. And when I called to tell housekeeping they didn't clean my room, they offered to let me come down and pick up a vacuum to take care of it myself, and oh God help me, what have I done? Why aren't I a lawyer? I was in the National Honor Society. How is performing in a school that still proudly waves the Confederate flag part of my life? Because they'll tell you that the flag is all about a deep-seated remembrance of the imperfections of their historical past, but no, it's not. So now my faith in humanity ravaged, my love for something I thought was so perfect and beautiful obliterated with yet another of my boss's heavy-breathing phone calls asking if I'm keeping my clothes on. I go to Tulsa. We hit the last show of the day. Since our boss had helpfully scheduled us to blow right through our lunch break and drive an hour and a half at top speeds to reach the show on time, otherwise no checky, and we have to eat our feelings for dinner that night. We arrived with empty stomachs and mismatched costumes. All I wanted was to be a Hedda Gabler, not some androgynous court jester with a belled cap and stylish black pumps for my inevitable transformation into the wicked stepmother. Now we've got to put on the show, and the auditorium's the size of a goddamn cathedral. Normally this isn't the case. We're doing this in a cramped classroom in front of 30 kids aged 5 to 14, but Tulsa really decides to treat us right. Another whammy comes when, while setting up the stage, the principal arrives with 3 people dressed head to toe in black. These are your interpreters, he tells us. Huh? Your interpreters. You see, this is a school for the deaf. And all I can think in that evil reptilian part of my brain is, good, at least we'll have a quiet house for once. Maybe it's my wacky, wide-eyed laughter at this information, but everybody leaves me alone pretty quickly. The kids come filing into the auditorium, quietly, I might add. The principal announces us with a wide mouth and big sweeping gestures and hand puppets and whatnot. I am so burnt out. But we get our check right after this, so it's on with the show. So we start doing it, and the interpreters are dancing right below us, copying our every move, so it's sort of like your shadow, except my shadow happens to be a middle-aged, overweight man with an emphysemic cough. And it's in the middle of snarking all this in my head that I catch the kids' faces. And they are completely enthralled. And it's, you know, they're fists in the mouth, wide-eyed, looking from us to the interpreters, like they can't believe what they're seeing. At first I'm sorry for them, that their best form of live entertainment is 3 20-something idiots who thought tooling around with a fake glass slipper and a van was a valid life choice. But they are about as invested in this as anything I've ever seen. There's no judgment. There's no sitting there with your pad, waiting for the review that's going up on your blog later about the lack of insight and whether or not this reflects what's happening in Afghanistan and something being jejune, whatever the hell that means. It's just people enjoying a story. Maybe for the next 5 minutes, maybe for days after. Maybe some unfortunate soul thinks this is just the greatest and carries it with them a good long while after. I don't know. But at the moment, they're enjoying the hell out of it. And I'm not worrying about what I'm doing with my life, or I should have been a lawyer, or any of that stuff. Sharing a story with somebody and the hopeless, miserable love that I lavish upon this stupid crap that will never love me back suddenly comes shining through. And everything's okay. When the kids applaud, they stick their hands in the air and wriggle their fingers. It's the deaf version of going wild. And even though it's one of the most silent audiences I've ever played, I feel okay. Then off to get some chicken fried steak and crash the days in before driving out of Tulsa down the road to another 4 or 5 shows and another audience. Our boss calls in the middle of coughing up a lung, asks if I remembered the check and how my tits are doing. I got the check and my tits are fine. I am nothing if not professional.